Welcome back. The Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department covers everything from hate crimes to human trafficking to excessive force or constitutional violations by law enforcement, enforcing disability rights, discrimination in education, discrimination in employment, discrimination against members of our military men and women, housing discrimination, credit discrimination, all kinds of discrimination are the job of the enforcement of the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice. The man in charge of that is Thomas Perez. He is Assistant Attorney General of the United States of America for the Civil Rights Division. He is here in Indianapolis talking to folk today, and he joins me live. Tom, I hate doing that, but we wanted to, stay informal. Welcome. Glad to have you here.
It's great to be here, Amos. I can't come to Indianapolis without having some time with you.
How I explained, is that what your department does? Because there are probably a lot of people listening that didn't realize it encompasses all of that.
It does encompass all that. We really are about equal opportunity, the equal opportunity to learn through the enforcement of education laws, the equal opportunity to earn through the enforcement of employment laws, the equal opportunity to realize the American dream in the housing context, the equal opportunity to vote. It runs the gamut. It's all about making sure people can realize their highest and best dreams by having that infrastructure of democracy in place.
How does a case get to you?
Cases get to us through a number of different ways. We get cases by going out and doing listening tours across this country. And we're here today listening and learning from the community. And oftentimes the cases that we get are a direct outgrowth of these meetings we have. I'm fond of saying that I don't know what I don't know, and that's why we've got to get outside the Beltway, and we work in partnership with Joe Hogsted and people here in the U.S. Attorney's Office. And so another way we get cases is when Joe learns about them, and another way we get cases is when we read about them in the paper. There's a variety of ways that we can get cases.
I've been here more than 35 years. And
you were 12 when you started.
I was 12. Yeah, I was 12.
Child labor laws. I got to call the Labor Department.
But let me. One of the things about Indianapolis, and particularly its African American community, is people on the outside, people in the Washington Beltway, or the East Coast Beltway, or the West Coast Beltway, don't realize how large this community is. It's now 256,000 in the city, 283,000 in the metropolitan area. 13th largest black community of any major city in this country. But people in our community we know there's racism and bigotry and injustice that occur here. But over the years, we felt that the Justice Department has never really investigated or intervened in the problems we felt here. I mean, we see cases, didn't regard whether it's a Democratic president or Republican president. We've seen civil rights cases in a Chicago or a New Orleans or a Newark or a Los Angeles or all different kind of places across the country, but never here. And Tom, that's created a climate where, and I tend to hear on this program the problems that exist in the community. And I got listeners who feel that the federal civil rights laws are not designed to protect people. They're designed to protect corporations and businesses, that the law is designed for corporations and not for individuals. I have people who believe that they have legitimate issues of discrimination, that they've had color of law violations directed against them. They feel they've got evidence to prove those charges or at least warrant a deeper investigation, but they feel their complaints go unanswered. They honestly believe that if they've given the complaints, they've ended up at a circular file. And it came to a head, not with the case you think, but with another case. Your predecessor allowed this city that had a successful 20-year record of hiring and promoting African-American police officers and firefighters. It was working here. It had started in a Republican administration where the Justice Department kind of said, Indianapolis, you got to change. And Indianapolis did. And the current mayoral administration got your predecessor to sign, to say, okay, you're done, go free, go do well. And after that, the number of black police officers hired by this city in the last 3 years, you can count on the fingers of both of my hands. The number of black officers promoted, you can count on the fingers of my right hand. We've got a city that's 28% black, a metro that's 16.1% black, black police officers, 13% of the force, supervisors, just 11.4% of the force, lieutenants, you can't be a top commander unless you're a lieutenant, just 7% African American. We've got a fire department where we've been merging in outlying fire departments into our city fire department. Those departments were virtually all white. That's diluted the force to the point where the firefighters were doing a better job than the police officers. Now they're falling behind. No new firefighters hired for the last couple of years, which reduces opportunities for promotion years down the road for African Americans. So when you see that context of people's frustrations where they see your division enforcing the law, it seems like every place else from here but here. How would you answer their frustrations? Because they're listening right now and they're saying, oh, that Tom Perez, you know, yeah, even though our president appointed him, even though our attorney general, you know, supported him, they're not going to enforce the laws here.
Right. Well, I think there's a few answers to that. First of all, we can always do more. And part of the reason we come out here and part of the reason Joe Hoxett and I are on this listening tour today is we want to learn about what are the issues that you believe are front and center, you residents and leaders here in the Indianapolis area. And so I'm taking copious notes. You talked about the issues in policing, in the hiring process, and in the fire department, and I'm taking notes on those. At the same time, another thing we have to do is we have to do a better job, Amos, of telling the community about the good work that we are doing. So, for instance, we've done a number of hate crimes cases, and these aren't cases that we did 4 or 5 years ago. These are cases, I was out here less than a year ago, and I met you then talking about 2 hate crimes prosecutions that we recently completed. We just did another case here involving threats in the context of an African-American family that was trying to rent housing. In my first tour of duty at the Justice Department, I was working on the Indianapolis school DSED case. And so we have a decades-long history of involvement there. And one of the things I want to learn about is what is the perspective of the community about how things are going now? Are we better off now than we were a few years ago? Are there still challenges that remain? We can always do better. And that's why we're here, because we want to listen, learn from the community about where the most acute challenges are. And we have been learning a lot, and we'll continue to learn a lot.
My audience would not forgive me if I did not bring this